A close call with China. Footage shows a Chinese warship comes dangerously close to a U.S. destroyer in the Taiwan Strait. Here's NTD's Juliet Song with the story.
150 yards. That's how close the Chinese warship was when it cut in front of a U.S. missile destroyer on Saturday. The American ship forced to slow down to avoid a collision. A Canadian Navy commander saw the incident firsthand.
The fact that this was announced over the radio prior to doing it clearly indicated that it was intentional.
Mount Ford was on a Canadian vessel doing joint drills with the U.S. warship. The close encounter was in the Taiwan Strait, the body of water separating Taiwan from mainland China.
Maneuvering close to each other, 150 yards is very scary. And you don't ever want to be that close to another vessel because too many things can go wrong and you can actually have a collision.
The close call came days after another dangerous encounter when a Chinese jet cut in front of the nose of a U.S. aircraft, the American jet shaking from turbulence.
Several hundred feet. That's dangerous.
And back to the near collision at sea. America's defense chief reacted to the news, calling the case troubling.
To be clear, we do not seek conflict or confrontation. But we will not flinch in the face of bullying or coercion.
But Beijing is hitting back, saying the U.S. should, quote, reflect deeply and correct its wrongdoing. Close encounters can become deadly.
It's close. I agree. So close. Very, very close. Oh, yeah.
In 2001, a Chinese fighter jet collided with a U.S. spy plane, forcing it to land on China's Hainan Island. The Chinese fighter pilot died in the incident.
The Chinese warship provocation comes as a senior U.S. State Department official is in China. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel Kritenbrink landed in Beijing Sunday, June 4th. As for what message the timing of this visit sends, we hear from Steve Yates, former Deputy National Security Advisor at the White House, for more. Steve Yates, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much.
So a senior U.S. official, Daniel Kritenbrink, is in Beijing. He landed Sunday, which was June 4th. It was actually the 34th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. What does the timing of this visit, what kind of message does this send?
Well, I can't imagine it came as a surprise to someone who's supposedly familiar with Asia that June 4th is a sensitive anniversary. So we have to assume that somewhere in the White House and State Department planning process, they knew that they would be arriving on this date. And you would think that with them knowing it, they would want to convey some kind of a message. But if they intended to, that definitely didn't get out. So it leaves the impression of them somewhat normalizing the day, making it routine business to engage with the party that was responsible for a massacre that the whole world saw and that China has tried to erase from the memory of the Chinese people ever since. Seems to be at least a bumbled move. At worst, it shows that the pathology of engagement has kind of taken hold and that this desire to de-risk is really about making concessions to try to bring China back to the talks.